Want to see how my day's going? Watch this. We had to have somebody come in this morning and tear off all of the baseboards around the shower because there's a leak in behind the wall that's causing, like, mold. This is sopping wet. That's mold, I'm pretty sure. Yep, that's mold. So there's just like crazy mold, crazy water damage in behind, and they can't figure out where it is. It's unbelievable. Mold behind the walls, mold on the baseboards. There's a leak in the shower somewhere, and we can't find it, but it's leaking into our walls. It's driving me crazy. So this has progressively been happening probably since we moved in 7 or 8 months ago. There's a leak in the shower that's leaking only behind the wall. And we have to get that fixed quick because there's like mold everywhere. It stinks in that bathroom. And we never smelled it until you take the baseboards off, but as soon as the baseboards came off, stinks. It smells like mold. So we moved into this house 7, maybe 8 months ago. In that time, there have been outlets that don't work. Like right now, I'm still 3 months later waiting on an outlet in my garage to be fixed because there's just something wrong with it. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it doesn't work. It's one of those GFI outlets, so it has a green light when it's working and a red light when it doesn't, and sometimes, most of the time, it has no light. So I had to plug my garage door into an extension cord and run it to a different outlet that's not on that circuit so that it actually works. 3 months ago, I called the builder and I said, hey, there's a problem. And they said, we'll send somebody to fix it. I get that they're probably busy, so I gave them 3 or 4 weeks and I said, hey, when is the electrician coming? And they said, what's your address? And I said, well, I guess they're not coming, are they? So let's send them this time. So I gave them my address, I waited another 2 weeks. The same thing happened again. What's your address? How do you not have my address? We're talking in a text message where the very last message from me was my address. What are you talking about? What's my address? I am fired up about this. It is driving me insane. So then as you start to have these big problems, all the little problems that you have throughout the short amount of time that you've lived in a new construction start to really drive you crazy, like crooked outlets, drywall that isn't quite done right, the little things. You know, the things that you could shrug off until it starts to drive you crazy because the big things start looming. And we were very excited to have moved into this place 7 or 8 months ago. In my head, new construction was like a great idea because you get something brand new. Nobody's touched it, lived in it, ruined it, messed it up, covered things up. It was gonna be great. And I think that dream, that idea that this was gonna be great was squashed. Probably after like the first week living here when I started realizing that we're gonna have problems. So right off the bat, the builder, the GC for the builder was still working on the street, so I could call him over and be like, hey, this and hey, that. There's one problem that we have that I don't even know what to do about. Every time the wind blows hard, we have a fan flap in our bathroom that goes like that. It sounds like gunfire in the middle of the night if there's a storm. And I said to him, there's gotta be something wrong with that. And he said, no, everybody's dealing with that. Then there's something wrong with everybody's because there's no way that there should be gunfire coming from my air vent in my bathroom fan. That's another problem that I will deal with, but right now we need to deal with the mold in the bathroom. We just finally had somebody come out and start doing all the things that we've asked them to do. This is months later, months after we said, hey, come do some work. They said, sure, 3 months later. So we've been dealing with this now for a couple of months. I tried to fix it myself. You know, I sanded it and I painted it because I didn't know it was mold. It looked just like a little bit of discoloration, so I sanded it down, I painted it, and then 2 days later it was starting to discolor again. So I told them. And now we're with this, where the guy who was supposed to fix it came in and said, I can't fix that. I thought that buying a new construction house was the right idea because everything would work and just be okay. What I feel like is they're building too quickly, too sloppily, too cheaply. They're not paying for labor that they should pay for to get quality work with skilled people. They're just grabbing a couple of schmoes that can do some general laboring and then being like, hey, you should do this thing that should be done by somebody that knows what they're doing, but you're here and you're making minimum wage, so we'll pay you. Eventually this has to come to an end, right? We moved here from Massachusetts, living in a house that was built in the year 1900 that had quirks and issues that needed to be fixed, but that house was built solid. I was never worried about that house falling down. I was never worried about that house blowing away in the wind. I was never worried about that house. I knew it was gonna stand because it was built well. We had solar where we were living in Massachusetts, and it was wonderful. It saved us probably $100 to $150 a month when we were running the ACs, so it was great. When we moved down here, we were talking about getting solar. You get sun just all day, almost every single day. Like, we would be a solar generating factory in and of ourselves right here. And then we moved in, and I started thinking about it, and the whole house has a warranty on it for a certain amount of time, depending on what it is. The roof is one of those things with a warranty. And with the poor and sloppy construction that went on, I am not going to put anything on my roof that'll void any sort of warranty, because I don't even know if that roof is going to still be standing in the next year. Because unskilled labor, cheap materials. I feel like most gingerbread houses built at Christmas are built more sturdy than this was. I don't know if it's actually going to last for the year during hurricane season. The video idea I had today was much different, but this whole thing happened and I said, I'm gonna make a rant about how much I dislike living in this house. I think we've made a mistake. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe in a couple of years everything will be fine. Alright, well, that's the rant today because that's all I can think about is getting this thing fixed. They have to have a restoration team come in and take care of the mold. I'll let you know how that goes. This has been our life for the last 24 hours. Yesterday morning they came and started taking apart all of the side of the wall, and now we're waiting for it to dry out because apparently, since they built it, something has been... It is so incredibly loud. It is so incredibly loud in there, and that's the bathroom that's off our bedroom. So we had to sleep all night with all of those fans running, and they said if you turn the fans off, it's not gonna dry, and we're gonna have to leave it even longer. So we suffered through last night. It's so loud. The one good thing that I'll say is that the company did send a restoration company, like a third-party company, to come mitigate the water and potential mold damage. They cut out what was essentially a really small section of that bathroom in there. I thought there would be more problems, but I guess she said she was able to take care of it and just cut out a small section of that bathroom. I appreciate how quickly they got it done. They found it yesterday despite arguing with me last week and not sending somebody right away. They found it yesterday, sent somebody later in the day, and now we're dealing with this. They're supposed to come back later to take those really large machines. Our bathroom is totally unusable right now, which is fine. We have another one, but there's now one bathroom for 4 people. Kind of a nightmare. So hopefully they come today, find that everything's dried out, and then they take those things away and send somebody to fix it, and then it's done. I'm curious what's leaking. I thought that it was gonna be something with like the shower door leaking, but there was no water damage anywhere but behind the wall. So let's see how that goes. And at the end of my ropes with this place, I think it's time to move.